Hi everyone, so welcome to this video, and here we will be doing the 2025 prelims GS paper, not the CSAT one. And yeah, I will solve the paper live with you, and it'll be as I did the solve the paper in the exam. So it'll have both, right options, wrong options also, and some of them unattempted also. So basically I'm trying to replicate what I did in the exam hall, and how my thinking or overthinking went. And while solving the paper also, what we'll do is we'll also basically look at our templates or learnings from the current paper, and we'll see how it'll help us in the coming attempts, coming 2026 paper as well. So yeah, we'll begin. And before we begin, the thing about the questions is, this is my understanding from the questions that I've seen across all, like, many years. And I think this holds good for, like, this is what everyone would say or agree with. So thing is, abhi na, static part or current affairs do hi hai. Like, this is how it will come, the questions will come from. And then there is the third one, the random areas, that has been increasing since the last few years. स्टैटिक में ना एक है कॉन्सेप्ट क्वेश्चन जिसका आपको एप्लीकेशन पूछेंगे. ओके, दैट इज़ वन टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन. सेकेंड इज स्टैटिक में ना दे विल आस्क यू बेसिक्स ऑफ अ गिवन टॉपिक, और दे विल आस्क समथिंग रिलेटेड टू द डेफिनेशन. सो दिस इज द अदर टाइप. द थर्ड वन इज स्टैटिक ही रहेगा, बट इट विल बी मोर ऑफ रोट लर्निंग बेस्ड. मतलब you will just have to memorize whatever is there. You should already be memorized with that particular topic. Okay, and my suggestion as an aspirant here is always have this area handy, and revise it before the exam. मतलब आपका concept, आपका definition जो है, that आप exam के पहले तो revise करोगे, but your basics have to be strong ताकि you can attempt that in the exam. But the rote learning, the memorization part of the exam, I would suggest that before the exam you have to go through this. The hit rate increases because if you are lucky enough, kahin na kahin se, from that 10-15 documents that you create, kuch question to aayega hi. And this happened with me in the exam also. I'll cover that as we go ahead. Coming to the current affairs part, current affairs and static को mix करके पूछ सकते हैं. एक क्वेश्चन, एक टॉपिक रहेगा, उसके 3 पॉइंट्स देंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, one will be static, मतलब definition or something, the other will be an application, and the third one will be current affairs, कि इस साल उसके related क्या हुआ करके. This is like this aspect I think is pretty common and can be used more in IR, environment. वैसे तो कहीं पे भी use कर सकते हैं, but yeah, this is where I've predominantly seen this pattern of questions. And then the third one is pure current affairs. Okay, this, it can be completely easy to solve, or it will be completely hard to solve. I don't think there's any middle ground here, but again, depends on the options as well. So yeah. And then the third part is random questions. Okay, so yeah, let me just do this. 1, 2 and 3, third type of questions. अब इसके सब parts तो है, but overall 3 है. Random thing here is, no matter what you read, no matter the sources you cover, these questions will always look new to you, कि ये कहाँ से पूछ लिया भाई. And for these questions, the best thing is to just stay calm and know that it's easy, like it is the same for everyone, and just move on in the exam. And the thing here is fixed templates. What I'm trying to tell here is, if you look at the pattern of the questions, right, I think I've discussed this in the previous videos also, कि एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया नहीं रहेगा, बट अ पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन टाइप विल बी रिपीटेड अक्रॉस द ईयर्स. ओके, जैसे एनवायरनमेंट में ले लो, समथिंग रिलेटेड टू स्पीशीज विल डेफिनेटली बी आस्क्ड, कि स्पीशीज डिस्कवर हुआ है तो कहाँ से हुआ है, और समथिंग ऑन मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइजेज और डील्स और डिक्लेरेशंस. तो दीज आर स्पेसिफिक पैटर्न. दिस इज अ टेम्पलेट क्वेश्चन, राइट. आई वुड क्लासीफाई दिस एज अ टेम्पलेट, कि ये हर साल आपको पता होना चाहिए. सो what we'll do while we solve the paper is also look for such templates that have been repeating. जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्ट्रक्चर्स है, डिपार्टमेंट या मिनिस्ट्री. ओके, 2024 का क्वेश्चन देखो, there was a question on finance ministry, budget is given from which department. 2025 में some similar question was asked. Okay, if you look at acts, okay, there was a question in 2024 that dealt with Passports Act, Official Secrets Act. I don't remember the exact question, but if you're familiar with the 2024 paper, you will remember what I'm trying to point at. Then there is water bodies, river, lake, sea, and they'll map it with country, something like this. So this is a specific template जो मतलब you should be familiar with this. Species हो गया, and then previous year questions भी ना, they're asking previous year questions directly. So that is also now becoming a template. Okay, and what else is something we'll try to delve into while we solve the paper. My basic analysis is मेरे weak areas थे geography, history and IR, right? This was as a student, like before the 2025 paper attempting, I knew कि मेरी ये weak areas है. So like just factor this in as well. And one more weak area that I have is overthinking in the exam. This I think is a problem with many of us, and I think I am on the higher end of this problem. Okay, now question and option is sometimes the question or the question area is easy, but options make it tough. And it can be the vice versa also. Options are easy, but the question itself is so ambiguous, I would say, कि आपको समझ में नहीं आता है कि ये ऑप्शन सही है या नहीं है करके. We look into this also as we move ahead. Now the basic thoughts for 2025, this I should be doing in the end, but मैं आपको एक ओवरव्यू दे रहा हूँ कि हाउ आई फेल्ट एज एन एस्पिरेंट कि ये क्वेश्चन पेपर कैसे था. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, आई वुड क्लासीफाई माई सेल्फ एज अ सीरियस एस्पिरेंट. ओके, like I've given in my hard work, I've given in my labor, so I wouldn't say कि मैं ना यार मैं और भी बहुत कुछ कर सकता था. Definitely वो तो एक रहेगा कि I should have pushed myself, but I would definitely not call myself as a non-serious aspirant. Okay, so the first thought is question paper was lengthy. Yes, definitely lengthy. Normally if I compare this with my 2016 2017 attempts, okay, and my mock attempts for all the years like 2013 से लेके 2024 तक, आई थिंक नॉर्मली ना पेपर आपका 1 hour 30 minutes में हो जाता है. करेक्ट, कि you are done with 2 rounds of questions, you've ticked all the options and stuff like that. But this paper, trust me, in the exam hall I also took 2 hours. Okay, and मतलब even 2.5 hours would have been non-sufficient, I feel, अगर मेरे को फिर से revisit करना पड़ता, because questions कैसे थे, statement 1 2 3, and do they solve do they what you call do they explain statement 1? Yeah, sorry that I fumbled. And then certain questions were very ambiguous, okay, when it comes to their options, कि यार ये option सही है या नहीं है. And then for certain questions wording was it was confusing. Like the wording was actually very confusing according to me for certain questions. I'm not telling कि पूरा paper ऐसे था, no, not at all, but yeah, certain questions did have this factor. And then for some questions they were solvable with basic common sense application in the exam, but problem ये है, this is a hindsight. Okay, ये लगता है आपको पेपर बाहर आने के बाद में, when you are done with the pressure, you are done with that whole zone of pressure, and it is easier said than done. So ये है, but the problem here is, even though like I've realized this कि exam में even though you have pressure, it is up to you that you take a deep breath, get into your calm zone, and then again try applying your basic common sense. And इसके basis पे, and this helps even when you are trying to solve some confusing questions. Okay, जैसे कोई दो ऑप्शन में आप अटक गए, राइट, उस टाइम पे this helps. It is up to you that आप overthinking ना करो and maintain your calm and go about it. And this one, this was suggestion by Shivan sir in his videos, smile before the paper opens, like booklet. Thing is, this really helps. It calms your anxiety, and it happened with me where I was smiling before the paper. I was like trying to be all calm and chill, and yeah, people was like a few, not everyone, but एक दो लोग देख रहे थे कि भाई ये क्यों हंस रहा है करके. तो yeah, but it's fine, like it really helped, that is for sure. And yeah, Red Bull before the exam, no, like you shouldn't. This was also rightly pointed out by Shivan sir only. But yeah, I also did that. एक attempt मैंने किया था, it didn't really work. It was just I was just trying to be cool. But Red Bull before the exam doesn't work. And at the same time, I would say कि at like I didn't have a proper one night sleep, 8 hours sleep before the exam. That anxiety, like, it really pushed me. So I had, like, I guess 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and even in that I was half awake only. And I feel कि for a 2 hour exam, like, अब इस पे ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस करके कोई फ़ायदा है नहीं. आई जस्ट मेड पीस विद इट. सो दैट इज़ दैट. एंड या नाउ, लाइक, लेट्स नॉट waste time in this. Directly, let's just solve the paper. Thing is, I would suggest that you also do this. Take a break after every 15 to 20. Oh, sorry. Take a break after every 15 to 20 questions or after one area, and try solving this with me as well. And I will replicate exactly what I did in the exam. So I am not saying whatever options I marked are correct, but मैंने exam में ऐसे किया था, is what I'm trying to tell you. So let's start with the question number 1. Now this is economy. Yes, this section. With reference to investments, consider the following: bonds, hedge funds, stocks, venture capital. How many of the above are treated as a alternative investment fund, AIF? Okay, अब ये ना, this pattern started coming up from 2023, right? Only 1, 2, only 3, 4, ये वाला. So I knew in the exam कि आई डिड नॉट नो एग्जैक्टली AIF में कौन से है. उस मोमेंट में आई वॉज गेटिंग कन्फ्यूज. बट आई न्यू कि ये दो और ये दो एक कैटेगरी में नहीं आएंगे. ओके, एंड या सो दैट वाज माय बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि दोनों ये, या तो ये दो रहेंगे या तो ये दो रहेंगे. एंड आई वॉज लकी इनफ इन द एग्जाम कि ऑप्शन ऐसे था. सो आई मार्क्ड ओनली 2 एंड या आई मूव्ड अहेड. And yeah, so that is that. And then now the next one: which of the following are sources of income for the Reserve Bank of India? RBI पैसे कहाँ से कमाता है? Buying and selling of government bonds? Yes. Buying and selling foreign currency? I didn't know this. So this is how I would also approach this question basically. Pension fund management? Okay, let us see. Lending to private companies, printing and distributing currency notes. अभी lending to private companies तो RBI करता ही नहीं है, राइट? सो दिस इज गॉन. तो ऑप्शन 4 यहाँ पे गया, ऑप्शन 4 यहाँ पे गया, विच टेल्स मी कि 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 5. तो आई नो कि ये करेक्ट है. पेंशन फंड मैनेजमेंट भी नहीं है करके. नाउ दिस पार्ट इज कन्फ्यूजिंग. क्वेश्चन ईजी है बट ऑप्शंस मेक इट टफ. अगर यहाँ पे ना ये नहीं होता, लाइक इफ दिस ऑप्शन वुड हैव नॉट बीन देयर, आई न्यू कि ये करेक्ट है. बट दिस प्रिंटिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग करेंसी नोट्स, दिस इज कन्फ्यूजिंग. सिर्फ प्रिंटिंग या सिर्फ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग करेंसी नोट्स बोलता तो मे बी आई कुड हैव आंसर्ड. बट सी, प्रिंटिंग इज डेफिनेटली नॉट अ सोर्स ऑफ इनकम. Distributing it, what does it mean? Does it mean that distributing it to banks, is it a source of income? Or distributing it, like making sure that it is distributed to the public, is it that? This was confusing. And because it was confusing, I thought नहीं यार ये नहीं हो सकता, because distribute भी करेंगे तो कहाँ से आएगा पैसा, मतलब how is it a source of income? And I chose option A. Still don't know what the correct answer is. Some people tell कि option D भी सही है, option A ही सही है. So that is still a ambiguity. Third question. मैंने जब ये question देखा, I like the first line that I read, Directorate of Enforcement, basically ED, okay, and the function, and then it works under Internal Security Division. मुझे ये पता था कि this works under Finance Ministry. So I was feeling good. But then I thought, ठीक है, options क्या है? Only 1, only 2, all the 3, none. This is where I knew कि this question cannot be answered by me. And yeah, अब DRI है, Directorate for Revenue Intelligence. I know कि it will work under Ministry of Finance. But does it work under Department of Revenue? Is it that specific? I did not know. And this part, though, obviously I didn't know. So this question is basically a question where you should know everything perfectly, and I didn't know, so I moved on. I skipped this. The fourth question now. Fourth question, the problem is I should have answered this correctly. I didn't. One is lack of revision. I realized that. Okay, proper revision. Second one is overthinking. Okay, ये क्वेश्चन ना बिना ओवर थिंकिंग के भी आई कुड हैव सॉल्व्ड, बट आई डिडंट. सी, द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया मैंडेट्स ऑल लिस्टेड कंपनीज in India to submit a business responsibility and sustainability report. BRSR. I knew ये ऑप्शन गलत है, एंड दिस वाज जस्ट कॉमन सेंस. अगर RBI है तो लिस्टेड कंपनी को मैंडेट क्यों करेगा? मतलब लिस्टेड कंपनीज के लिए द बॉडी टू मैंडेट इज सेबी ना. दैट इज माई फर्स्ट थॉट. ठीक है, दैट इज वन. सेकेंड इज this was also like I felt कि this also might be one reason कि all the companies को बोल रहा है, तो मे बी ये गलत है. So this was wrong is what I got to know. In India, a company submitting a BRSR makes disclosures in the report that are largely non-financial. Okay. The problem here is, this is my overthinking in the exam. Business responsibility and sustainability जब बोला ना उन्होंने, I did not link it with environmental sustainability. I just linked it with business economic sustainability. And I thought कि अगर वैसा है तो largely non-financial क्यों होगा? It will be, and like this, the wording seems ambiguous करके I felt कि this is also wrong. And I chose option D. Whereas the answer is option B. So this is how this question, which was supposedly an easy question, I did wrong. And then now question number 5. Question number 5 is, in India, मतलब basically statement 1, 2 दे रहे हैं, which one of them is correct पूछ रहे हैं. So, and see, thing is, sometimes once you are familiar with the questions, right, you usually don't read this part of the question, correct? तो yeah, this comes with practice only, but I would suggest कि आप exam में तो properly पूरा पढ़ो. In India, income from allied agriculture activities like poultry farming, wool rearing in rural areas is exempted from any tax. Okay, any tax. Danger area. In India, rural land is not considered a capital asset under the provisions of Income Tax Act. This I did not know. Okay, this I did not know कि भाई ये है या नहीं है करके. CA को आप पूछोगे तो वो डायरेक्टली आपको बोलेंगे कि हाँ ये तो करेक्ट है करके. I did not know this statement. तो I was focusing on this statement. And since it said any tax, I felt कि it can't be exempted from any tax. This is too extreme of a statement. And I was final with the fact कि यार ये गलत statement है करके. Which made only these two correct. मतलब ये दो होंगे. Which is statement 1 is not correct. Sorry, this one. Statement 1 is not correct and statement 2 is correct. So I chose this. But let me tell you, I did this in round 2. Okay, मतलब हाँ, तो I just went about the whole paper. ये round 2 में किया, मतलब finalize मैंने round 2 में किया, and it did take me some time. Okay, I had to like, मतलब when you start overthinking ना, वहाँ पे आपको time लगता है. You take 1-2 minutes properly to answer, to finalize the option. So yeah, this is what I did. Supposedly this is correct. Now 6th question. India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. India is a resource-rich country in all the 30 critical minerals that it has identified. Okay. The Parliament in 2023 has amended MMDR basically, empowering the central government to exclusively auction mining lease and composite license for certain critical minerals. See, thing is, I knew everything about this topic, critical minerals. Okay, मैंने न्यूज़ में इतना देखा कि I knew everything. Like I was, मतलब while solving this question only, I knew कि आंसर कौन सा करेक्ट है कौन सा नहीं है, and options made it easier. Okay, India is a resource-rich country in all the 30 critical minerals. Not at all. This is extremely wrong. ये गलत है, which directly made me cut all these options and choose this. Okay, Parliament has identified this and exclusively for certain critical minerals. Yes, if you read this, there also be something called major and minor minerals. Minor minerals ka state governments can do things about it, but major critical minerals or major minerals only central government can do. So yeah, this is done. Now question number 7. I have the actual question paper with me also, so I am basically exactly telling you कि मैंने एग्जाम में एग्जैक्टली किया ही क्या था. नाउ दिस वन एज रिगार्ड्स, नाउ सी दिस इज अ लेंदी क्वेश्चन. पहले तो वो है ईजी है नहीं है, सेकेंडरी है, बट दिस इज अ लेंदी वन बिकॉज यू हैव टू रीड दिस विच इज़ अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. स्टेटमेंट 2 and 3 में से कोई एक करेक्ट हो सकता है, दोनों हो सकते हैं, एंड दे हैव टू एक्सप्लेन दिस. दैट इज द होल गेम ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन. ओके, सो yeah, as regards returns from an investment in a company, generally bondholders are considered to be relatively at lower risk than stockholders. Correct है, common sense, yes. And see, this question is more of a concept application है. यहाँ पे ये directly आपको कहीं मतलब I don't think you'll find it exactly this way, but this is more of an application of a concept that you learn. So bondholders are lenders to a company, whereas stockholders are its owners. Correct. स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है. अभी उसको एक्सप्लेन करता है नहीं है. दिस इज द सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. ओके, स्टेटमेंट 3, फॉर रीपेमेंट पर्पज बॉन्ड होल्डर्स आर प्रायोरिटाइज्ड ओवर स्टेक होल्डर्स बाय अ कंपनी. ओके, दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. नाउ एक्चुअली बोथ ऑफ दीज एक्सप्लेन दिस बिकॉज मतलब ये रीजन्स ही हैं कि यू नो बॉन्ड होल्डर्स आर मोर फ्री देन स्टॉक होल्डर्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ द रिस्क. करेक्ट. स्टॉक होल्डर्स में यू बिकम द ओनर, तो रिस्क भी आपके ऊपर ही है. करेक्ट. बट वेन यू आर अ बॉन्ड होल्डर, यू आर नॉट एन ओनर, यू आर जस्ट अ लेंडर टू द कंपनी, विच मीन्स आपको आपके पैसे आना इज काइंड ऑफ अ गारंटी. इट शुड बी अ गारंटी. तो मोर रिस्क इज ऑब्वियसली एट द ओनर स्टेक. करेक्ट. तो या, सो आंसर हियर इज ए. दिस वॉज अ ईजी क्वेश्चन if you know the concepts. And yeah, now question number 8. India accounts for a very large portion. See, this question in the exam, it was a confusing and kind of a tough question. Not a tough question, but it was a tricky question, I would say. India accounts for a large portion of all equity option contracts traded globally and thus exhibiting a great boom. अब ये एग्ज़ाम हुआ 25 मई को. करेक्ट. उस टाइम पे कोई ग्रेट बूम तो था नहीं. रिकवरी बोल सकते हो या फ्लैट लाइन चल रहा था मार्केट. तो टेक्निकली दिस इज एन एम्बिगुअस स्टेटमेंट. ओके, तो ठीक है, मैंने मतलब आई रेड दिस, आई वाज लाइक ठीक है. एंड सी द होल स्टेटमेंट इज काइंड ऑफ एन एम्बिगुअस स्टेटमेंट ओनली. देयर इज नथिंग टू एक्सट्रीम हियर. India's stock market has grown rapidly in the recent past, even overtaking Hong Kong's at some point of time. See, same. 25th मई को आई वॉज थिंकिंग कि यार रैपिडली तो अभी कोई ग्रो हो ही नहीं रहा है, रैपिडली एक्चुअली फॉल हुआ है मार्केट, तो ये कैसा स्टेटमेंट है करके. बट आई वॉज स्टिल ओके. आई फेल्ट कि इन अ ब्रॉडर कॉन्टेक्स्ट दिस इज ट्रू, फाइन. नाउ देर इज नो रेगुलेटरी बॉडी ईदर टू वार्न स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर्स अबाउट द रिस्क ऑफ ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग और टू एक्ट on unregistered financial advisors in this regard. I didn't know कि what exactly the body is, but I मतलब सेबी भी है या सेबी ही है, मुझे पता नहीं था. But I knew this fact कि सेबी had given out notices to these financial influencers saying कि you can't randomly, like no one on social media can give out random financial advices. So I knew कि एक regulation तो हो रहा है करके. Correct. तो आई न्यू कि ये स्टेटमेंट इज कम्प्लीटली रॉन्ग, विच मेड दिस स्टेटमेंट लाइक ऑल दीज 3 ऑप्शंस गो एंड 1 and 2 करेक्ट. ओके, आई न्यू कि दिस इज डेफिनेटली रॉन्ग एंड हेंस द ऑप्शंस ऑल्सो हेल्प. दैट इज वाई आई एम टेलिंग दिस कि थोड़े ना सॉल्वेबल विद बेसिक कॉमन सेंस है. प्रॉब्लम इज इवन दो योर कॉमन सेंस कम्स इन टू प्ले, योर ओवर थिंकिंग काइंड ऑफ overshadows that. So anyways, option is this and I chose this option. Now 9. Circular economy reduces the emissions of greenhouse gases. Circular economy reduces the use of raw materials as inputs. Circular economy reduces wastage in the production process. See, the question is circular economy के बारे में पूछ रहा है, correct? Circular economy और greenhouse gases का relation आपको directly I don't think कहीं पे मिलेगा. But if you know the circular economy में होता क्या है and the effects on environment in general or people or resources in general, you can answer this. Correct. यही है basically. And see, thing is, he is already telling you कि statement 1 correct है. तो the thing is, statement 1 is definitely correct. So this is a line that you have to agree with कि अच्छा ये होता है. क्यों होता है is the point. Statement 2, it reduces the use of raw materials as inputs. Yes, circular economy का basic principle ही वो है you keep using the things in the market, existing market only. You don't take external raw materials again and again. So wo, and it reduces wastage in the production process. Obviously these two make sense and these two go together. And yeah, you also need to know circular economy as a concept. So yeah, I basically chose A, and yeah, even in the exam and UP this is correct. Now capital receipts create a liability or cause reduction in the assets of the government. Okay. Borrowings and disinvestment are capital receipts. Okay. Interest received on loans creates a liability on the government. See, these two statements you might not know both the parts. Matlab, create a liability is one part and reduction in the assets of the government is second part. You might, अब जैसे मुझे पता था कि capital receipts can create a liability. I did not know कि reduction of the asset होता है क्या. मतलब can reduction in asset become a capital receipt is what I was confused on. But the second statement, borrowings and disinvestment are capital receipts. This is actually an example for this. अभी मैं आपको इतना easily बोल सकता हूँ कि ये देखो example है 1 and 2 का, but exam में ना actually doesn't work that way. आपका दिमाग is already stressed, इतना आप मतलब आराम से नहीं सोच सकते हो. But see, third option, interest received on loans creates a liability on the government. How can interest create a like interest on a loan create a liability? Loan creates a liability? Does it? No. Okay. So thing is, the statement is completely wrong, and interest though is definitely wrong. So I was like, ये option तो पक्का गलत है, and I went with 1 and 2, and this is how I solved this in the exam. Okay, so economy is done, and economy I would say was on the, like, I felt it was nothing tough, because एक तो यार I took, like, economy was my strength area only. I was pretty confident in economy. Plus, yeah, thanks to Dr. Shivan, his economy course really helped, and I would say that the questions were also like good, solvable. Okay, now the next part, history. I would suggest that you take a pause if you want to, or you can just go ahead. ये easy है थोड़ा, मतलब questions are very simple, and if you remember, history is my weak area. So I was very cautious at history. Okay, मतलब मैं ऐसे था कि यार मेरे को अगर थोड़ा भी confusion है या मुझे 100% पता नहीं है तो मैं मार्क ही नहीं करूँगा. Okay, now let's go ahead. Question number 11. राजा राममोहन रॉय के बारे में स्टेटमेंट है, he possessed great love and respect for the traditional and philosophical systems of the East. मुझे एक्चुअली आई डेंट नो कि ये सही है या नहीं है, बट आई फेल्ट कि दिस स्टेटमेंट इजंट टू एक्सट्रीम और एनीथिंग. ग्रेट लव एंड रिस्पेक्ट फॉर द ट्रेडिशनल फिलोसफिकल सिस्टम्स ऑफ द ईस्ट. ठीक है, वेस्ट है, ईस्ट है. आई फेल्ट कि यार बंदा, मतलब वाई वुड समवन नॉट पोजेस ग्रेट लव एंड रिस्पेक्ट फॉर द ट्रेडिशनल फिलोसफीज ऑफ द ईस्ट. एंड वी डोंट हैव एनी लीडर ऑफ आवर्स who, at least in our modern history freedom struggle times, was against anything external. Matlab, they were against the British, yes, but in general philosophy, culture ke liye we've always been people who embrace these things, right? West raho ya east raho. So I felt that this statement has to be true, and he desired his countrymen to accept rational and scientific approach and the principle of human dignity and social equality of all men and women. See, rational and scientific approach, I knew कि Raja Ram Mohan Roy is known for his rational approach and scientific approach only. Okay, he was so basically मेरे को लगा कि यार ये statement भी सही होगा. गलत इसमें, मतलब this statement isn't too extreme for someone. So yeah, I basically went with 1 and 2. Again, I wanted to solve a few questions, right? So I didn't want to completely skip this. Now the 12th one, बॉयकॉट नॉन कोऑपरेशन प्रोग्राम में क्या मतलब, नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट इज हाउ आई रेड इट. बॉयकॉट ऑफ लॉ कोर्ट्स एंड फॉरेन क्लॉथ. ओके, आई डिडंट नो, मतलब मुझे एक्सप्लिसिटली याद नहीं था कि हुआ या नहीं. ऑब्जर्वेंस ऑफ स्ट्रिक्ट नॉन वायलेंस. ओके, आई डिडंट नो. रिटेंशन ऑफ टाइटल्स एंड ऑनर्स विदाउट यूजिंग देम इन पब्लिक. ओके. एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स ऑफ पंचायत्स फॉर सेटलिंग डिस्प्यूट्स. अभी मैंने क्या किया इन दी एग्जाम, या what I did in the exam was, ठीक है यार, नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट है, बॉयकॉट. अभी आई वेंट फॉर द थर्ड ऑप्शन फर्स्ट. ओके, कि रिटेंशन ऑफ टाइटल्स एंड ऑनर्स विदाउट यूजिंग देम इन पब्लिक, हाउ, व्हाट सेंस डज इट मेक. एंड आई डिड रीड अ लाइन समवेयर इन माई हिस्ट्री कि दे चोज टू गिव अप देयर टाइटल्स एंड ऑनर्स. तो आई वॉज फीलिंग कि यार हाँ ये तो गलत है. Okay, options, and if you look at the options are like this, so you have to know everything perfectly only. But I did take a 50-50 gamble here and it worked out. But yeah, observance of strict non-violence, yes. मतलब thing is, observe करेंगे strict non-violence करके ये सोचेंगे, that is obvious. अब will it actually happen or not is something secondary. It is the later part. But to have it in your basic mandate, it makes sense. So I was like ठीक है ये तो सही होगा. Boycott of law courts and foreign cloth. See, if they are not retaining their titles and honors, I think even they'll boycott, law courts and foreign cloth is what I felt. So I felt ये भी सही है. And then coming to this, I didn't know this. So I was confused between either only 3 or only 2. But I felt कि establishment of panchayat for disputes, because I felt कि जब law courts को boycott कर रहे हैं, if this has to be true, तो they will have to have some replacement for this ना. And for that I felt कि ठीक है, this might work. And yeah, I chose this. I don't know if this is completely correct or not, but yeah, मैंने ये किया. I chose only 3. Okay. And I think this is correct. Now this Araghatta. Yeah, when I saw this question, I felt so happy in the exam that I had done my PYQs for history, ancient and medieval, because this was my only source of preparing. मतलब honestly speaking, yeah, this is how I prepared कि PYQs पक्का करके जाना है. When I saw this, I was very happy, and then I felt कि यार ये तो है wheel था, because the options are different in the previous paper that was asked. This question was asked, but I felt कि हाँ, I know this answer. Then earthen pot driven by bullocks, ये नहीं है. Large water bucket pulled up by road by directly by hand, नहीं. It has something to do with a wheel, is what I knew. Large water bag made of leather pulled over a pulley, नहीं. This also is wrong, is what I knew. Okay. Large wheel with earthen pots tied to outer ends of its spokes. Okay. Earthen pot, large wheel, yes. I knew कि यही आंसर है. I was pretty sure, and I was happy in the exam that this is a PYQ directly coming from the previous papers. Now this. Okay. Here I would say my intuition worked. Okay. मतलब that initial 0.5 second वाला thing, where you feel like यार ये है, मैंने कहीं पढ़ा है करके. Okay, who among the following rulers had assumed the titles of Matta Vilasa, Vichitta Chitta and Gunabhara? मुझे ये दो नहीं पता था. बट हाँ, विचित्र चित्ता मुझे था कि यार मैंने आई थिंक ये ना महेंद्र वर्मन के लिए पढ़ा है करके. एंड आई वॉज कन्फ्यूज बिटवीन महेंद्र वर्मन एंड नरसिम्हा वर्मन, बट आई फेल्ट के हाँ इट हैज़ टू बी दिस, एंड आई वेंट विथ माई गट. ओके, आई डिड टेक अ चांस, बट आई वेंट विथ माई गट कि नहीं यही है करके. एंड देन या कमिंग टू दिस 15, फाहियान द चाइनीज पिलग्रिम ट्रैवल टू इंडिया ड्यूरिंग द रेन ऑफ. आई शुड हैव नोन दिस. मैंने एग्जाम में भी आई वॉज लाइक इट हैज़ टू बी दिस और दिस करके आई फेल्ट, बट आई वॉज नॉट गेटिंग एन इंट्यूशन और एन इनर वॉइस सेइंग कि यार दिस माइट बी करेक्ट और दिस हैज़ टू बी करेक्ट. सो आई डिडंट मार्क दिस. Who among the following led a successful military campaign against the kingdom of Sri Vijaya, the powerful maritime state which ruled Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Java and the neighboring islands? See, I didn't know this. Okay, and I didn't even know how the answer has to be, but I knew कि powerful maritime state बोल रहा है ना, it has to be Chola, and that is I went with my gut and I chose this. Okay, so yeah, I did this. And then now 17th, ancient, consider the following. Territorial region बोला and river flowing पूछा. The moment I saw these two headings only, I knew कि यार मेरे से तो ये आंसर नहीं होगा. And then when I saw these options, I was like हाँ definitely नहीं होगा. I don't even need to waste my time here. Okay, I didn't even know where these areas are. I knew कि ये पुरानी areas है करके, but I did not know कि river. I didn't even know ये exactly ये है या ये rivers तो मुझे पता भी नहीं था honestly. I left this question like within I guess 10 seconds of looking at this question, I just knew कि I have to move on. And even in the exam, no, I marked it like this. I did this in the exam. Okay, 18th. The first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, a music training school, was set up by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar in. See, thing is, I knew Gandharva कहाँ का आर्ट है. Okay, if you look at India and if you look at, I learned from Kawal Baveja sir to understand the patterns basically. I knew कि ना ये influences यहाँ से आई है. Okay, यहाँ से. So like I was kind of thinking कि ये ना या तो दिल्ली होगा या तो लाहौर होगा करके, because influence यहाँ से आया है. But yeah, I did not know this explicitly. So even after coming at a 50-50, did not mark this answer. Apparently the answer is Lahore. So yeah, I did leave this question in the exam. Ashokan inscription suggests that the Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta were important officers at what level? I don't know. मैंने एग्जाम में छोड़ दिया. I knew कि I should have read Ashokan administration, पता होता, easy question है ये, but I didn't know this and I did not want to take a chance here. I left this question. Okay, I did feel कि probably A या B में होगा, like that was a small intuition, but overall my inner voice was telling me कि यार move ahead, don't mark this. So I didn't mark that. Now consider the following statements in respect of non-cooperation movement. The Congress declared attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. Okay, I knew कि ये correct है. It was meant to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to repression. Thing is, कहीं ना कहीं आई फेल्ट के आई रेड अबाउट 1 year एंड स्वराज नॉट कमिंग इन 1 year तो ये होगा करके, बट एग्ज़ाम में आई फेल्ट के यार मतलब आई फेल्ट के ओनली भी लिखा है, ईयर का टाइमलाइन भी दिया है, हाउ कैन दिस बी करेक्ट इज़ व्हाट आई फेल्ट एंड आई मार्क्ड इट रॉन्ग. सो आई वेंट विद ऑप्शन 1, बट अपेरेंटली इट इज़ रॉन्ग. आंसर इज़ नॉट दिस. ओके, सो या दिस इज़ व्हाट आई डिड इन द एग्ज़ाम. Now, okay, so it's been 20 questions and yeah, we are already 37 minutes into the video. I am contemplating if I should make parts to this or not, but at the same time I would suggest that you take a break here and 21 say we'll again do after your break of 2 minutes or 1 minute. Okay, so here I would say this is more of IR mapping mixed. Okay, so I mean these 3 questions basically. Thing is, like I said, I am weak at IR. एक तो वो है. At the same time, look at the questions also. 21 उन्होंने ना 6 countries दी. How many of the above are members of NATO? अब इसमें ना if they had questions where they jumbled the options 1 2 3 1 2 5 2 3 7 ऐसा कुछ अगर होता तो maybe I would have thought of understanding the question, but it's only 3 4 5 and 6. मतलब 3 तो है. Out of 6, 3 are definitely there. That is the basic possibility. So you probably have to look at what are the options that are definitely not there. Okay, and honestly I didn't attempt this question because I didn't know much about NATO and these members of NATO. Okay, so I did not attempt this question. I still don't know if this is a easy or a tough question and how it could have been solved. So I'm not going to comment on that as well. The second question, Andes pass through how many of the above? 2 3 4 5 और उन्होंने दिए 6 है. Okay, so you have to know at least one country which from which Andes don't pass. See, mapping में if this is South America, I knew कि Andes ना ऐसे जाते हैं करके. Yeah, but I was still not able to point out individual countries and be sure as to these are the definite countries where Andes passes, and hence I did not attempt this also. So I did not attempt this, I did not attempt this, and this water bodies and how many of them does the equator pass, I did not even know where they are from, so I didn't attempt this also. Matlab blindly within like 5 seconds of the question I knew कि I'm not going to attempt this. 24 यहाँ तक ना माई कॉन्फिडेंस वॉज काइंड ऑफ गोइंग डाउन कि यार 3 क्वेश्चंस बिल्कुल ही नहीं आते हैं, बट आई केप्ट माई काम. एंड देन 24 टर्मरिक के बारे में पूछा. सी, नाउ इफ यू लुक एट अ पैटर्न हियर, नाउ लेट्स जस्ट गो बैक हियर फ्रॉम लाइक ऑल द क्वेश्चंस एंड लुक एट अ पैटर्न ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. ओके, तो फ्रॉम now basis 2023 and 2024, and then coming at 2025, if you look at the patterns, I mean question 20, I'll put a question number and then put a pattern there. So question number 3, okay, which said basically organization and ministry. ये एक पैटर्न है क्योंकि 2024 में उन्होंने पूछा, इट वॉज नॉट अ डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस, बट बेसिकली अ क्वेश्चन वेयर दे सेट कि ओके ये डिपार्टमेंट है, डिपार्टमेंट ये कौन से मिनिस्ट्री के अंदर आता है, समथिंग लाइक दिस, बेसिकली द नॉलेज ऑफ गवर्नमेंट हायरार्की और यू नो द गवर्नमेंट स्ट्रक्चर आई वुड से. तो ये एक पैटर्न बन गया, करेक्ट. नाउ लेट्स लुक एट अदर पैटर्न्स इफ एनी. ऐसे तो यहाँ पे मुझे कोई पैटर्न नहीं दिख रहा जो पहले के ईयर से भी कोई पैटर्न बन रहा है करके. ओके, सो नॉट देयर या नन ऑफ दीज. एंड देन कमिंग टू दिस 24, सी 2023 और 2024 में भी उन्होंने मिनरल्स के बारे में, मिनरल्स या कमोडिटी के बारे में पूछा, राइट. सो बेसिकली शुगर केन और बैम्बू, so basically anything on those lines. So I would say कि commodity, spice और mineral, बेसिकली कोई एक मिनरल को या एक कमोडिटी को या एक स्पाइस को पकड़ के उसके बारे में डिटेल में पूछते हैं, समथिंग लाइक दिस. ओके, तो दिस इज अनदर पैटर्न दैट आई एम सीइंग के ओवर ईयर्स दे आर ट्राइंग टू स्पेसिफिकली पॉइंट आउट वन एंड देन आस्क ऑन दैट. एंड यू नो ये पैटर्न आपको 2023 और 24 में भी दिखता, एंड उसके बेसिस पे ही मैंने 2025 पे इस पर फोकस किया था. एंड आई रेड अबाउट टर्मरिक. तो इंडिया इज द लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर एंड exporter of turmeric in the world. Yes, I knew that this is definitely correct. I knew that more than 30 varieties are grown in India, and I knew that Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are major turmeric producing states in India. I knew all of this, and hence I chose 1, 2 and 3. Okay, India is also, if I'm not wrong, India is also the largest consumer of turmeric in the world as well. So yeah, this and okay, I think I should show that to you right away. Maybe 1 second. Yes. See, यहाँ पे ना I have these individual like I said, rote learning का मैंने किया था. So ये basically rote learning के screenshots ये कि मेरे को ये screenshots cover करने थे before the exam. And look at this, spices growing states of India. तो this I had a overview of this map in my head कि कहाँ कहाँ पे क्या उगता है करके. And I also read about individual spices, but you know this is what I'm trying to tell you कि this helps. So I had economy के लिए I had different areas की rote learning में कोई याद, मतलब before the exam I should be able to remember all of this. अब जैसे ये for example I think this is one of the indexes. Yeah, this is either CPI or WPI. So ऐसे मैंने याद रखा था. एंड देखो CPI. So all of this, these are basically like rote memorization like this is more this is just fact based information, right? तो ये ना आपको at the end it can confuse you. So I wanted to remember all of this, and hence I had these individual areas with me. Okay, yeah, going back to this. So this I marked it, and then which of the following are evidences of the phenomena of continental drift? So this is again a very basic question, but I think I mentioned it already. Geography is also my weak area. So यहाँ पे ना like I did not remember continental drift, and even after looking at the options, like this option, okay, option number 3 is known to have its counterparts in 6 different land masses of the southern hemisphere, Gondwana system of India. अब मेरे को ये था कि हाँ अफ्रीका से है and then मिडिल ईस्ट से है, but I wasn't able to you know exactly come to the options, and I didn't mark this option also. Maybe I should have been in a position to identify the wrong one, but yeah, I did not know anything about it, so I chose to skip the question. This question 26, I'll tell you my personal experience. Matlab, this is probably only specific to me, but I spent about 15 minutes on the clock on this question, and still I chose to not mark the answer. मेरे को ये क्वेश्चन इतना कंफ्यूजिंग दिखा. देयर इज नो लाइक there's no limit to this. And yeah, I chose to not mark the answer also. Thing is, see, the amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate areas than in equatorial and polar regions, right? Abhi, the amount of dust particles is more in this and this, okay. Subtropicals and temperate areas have less dry winds. So are they trying to tell that the dry winds are less or the winds are less dry? आप समझ रहे हो यहाँ पे मतलब is this like okay, and maybe this is just my overthinking, or I am not familiar with the basics, तो शायद मैं confuse हो गया. But is this the whole word, like ये पूरा proper noun है या less dry ये है actual? आप समझ रहे हो? Is it so winds है, dry है, less है. अब ये दोनों को पकड़ के बोल रहा है या ये दोनों को पकड़ के सॉरी या ये दोनों को पकड़ के बोल रहा है? आई वॉज जस्ट कन्फ्यूज्ड. And yeah, it took me 15 minutes, but then I chose कि यार I don't know what is the correct one. I did arrive at probably this or this, but I was like ठीक है अब मेरे को नहीं पता ये, तो I left this one. And yeah, this was this was one of the worst questions I faced. Okay, I'm not saying that the question was completely bekar, but yeah, this was so confusing. Okay, and if you think like this is a simple one, please let me know. Okay. And yeah, now see, coming to the pattern again, see 2023, they are asking lakes. They are trying to map it to a country, a city, or basically a longitude, latitude. If you remember, ऐसा ही एक क्वेश्चन था where they said equate there is the like दिल्ली से अगर पास करता है तो बैंगलोर या हैदराबाद से भी कोई लाइन पास कर जाएगा 82.5 something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, so something like this. So going on to the next question. In January, the northern hemisphere, the isotherms bend equal. See, the moment I read this, I knew कि मुझे कुछ नहीं पता. And I just skipped this question. Let me also turn the page. Yeah, now 28. मतलब यहाँ तक मेरा confidence was kind of flatlining. I felt कि यार अब ये क्या हो रहा है. But see, I kept calm. That is what I'm trying to again tell you. In the context of effect of water on rocks, chalk is known as a very permeable rock, whereas clay is known quite impermeable or least permeable rock. Okay, statement 1 makes sense. Chalk is porous and hence can absorb water. Okay. Clay is not at all porous. See, the thing is, not at all. मतलब this is an extreme statement. Okay. This is definitely wrong. ये हो गया, आई नो कि ये गलत है. तो अभी मैं आई एम नॉट इवन पुटिंग माई ब्रेन इन टू इफ दिस सॉल्व्स दिस और नॉट. पहले आई एम गोइंग टू द ऑप्शंस एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग के विच आई हैव टू एलिमिनेट. बोथ आर करेक्ट, नो. बोथ आर करेक्ट, नो. ओनली वन ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट्स इज करेक्ट, ओके. नीदर स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट, नो. मतलब ये करेक्ट है ना, तो सी पे आ गया मैं. आई डेंट इवन हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इफ दिस एक्चुअली एक्सप्लेन्स दिस. And then now next question. Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. Yeah, ये correct है statement. Heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature. Yes. And then atmosphere's gases like carbon dioxide are particularly good at absorbing and trapping radiation. Yes, this is also correct. Greenhouse. So option is C. That is what I chose. Rashtriya Gokul Mission. It is important for the upliftment of rural poor, as majority of low producing indigenous animals are with small and marginal farmers and landless laborers. अभी इसमें see, even in the exam I felt that this is like a reason for Rashtriya Gokul Mission, and I felt that this is definitely not a wrong option here. And option 2 here is also correct because, like, yeah, you should know Rashtriya Gokul Mission. So again this comes back to a government scheme. Okay, अभी इसको मैं पैटर्न में नहीं गिन रहा हूँ बिकॉज यू कांट, आई मीन अब कैसे ही पॉइंट आउट करोगे यार कि विच specific government scheme or mission they are going to ask. But anyways, the answer to this I chose B, sorry, C. Now this one 31. See, this I think starts environment. If you look at the previous ones also, it मतलब कहीं ना कहीं environment भी mix में आ गया है. Okay, मतलब now this is yeah, this is kind of an environment question I would try to point out. But again, this is also geography. This is geography only actually. Yeah. So statement 1, it indicates that cement account for more than 5% of global emissions. I didn't know this. Okay, but क्योंकि ये statement correct ही है तो correct ही होगा because the pattern of the question is that. And then silica bearing clay mixed with limestone while manufacturing cement. I didn't know. Limestone is converted into lime during clinker production for cement manufacturing. I didn't know this. मतलब इतना deep अगर वो लोग एक process के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं तो maybe we have to get into these details. But yeah, in the exam I put a cross to this question. Now this COP28, India refrained from signing the declaration on climate and health. Okay, so basically ये statement correct है. Why did they do that? Because it is binding declaration and if signed becomes mandatory to decarbonize health sector. If India's health sector is decarbonized, the resilience of its healthcare system may be compromised. Thing is, in the exam, I knew कि this is correct. अगर decarbonize करोगे, the resilience of its healthcare system may be, the words like these ना, they are usually correct only. Maybe, मतलब ये बोल रहा है it's a possibility ना, तो yeah, it is okay. But this statement I was not sure कि whether it is a binding declaration or not. Okay, I did not know this, but I took a guess कि होगा बाइंडिंग और इसके लिए ही शायद मैंडेटरी होगा डीकार्बनाइज करना. आई ट्राई टू नॉट ओवर थिंक हियर एंड आई थॉट कि ठीक है यार ये भी करेक्ट ही है करके, एंड आई चोज दिस. बट आंसर एक्चुअली इज ओनली वन ऑफ देम इज करेक्ट. तो दिस थॉट राइट, लाइक आई गॉट टू नो लेटर कि ये बाइंडिंग नहीं है करके. सो या दिस वॉज रॉन्ग, बट this is how I approach this question. Now 33. Scientific studies suggest that a shift is taking place in the Earth's rotation and axis. Yes, this is a known fact. Solar flares and associated coronal mass injection (CMEs) bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere with tremendous amount of energy. See, the statement in its entirety is correct. ये statement गलत नहीं है, okay? But ये statement इसको explain करता है कि नहीं है वो secondary देखेंगे. As the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. Yeah, this is also correct. See, this explains this. Yeah, if this is correct and if this is correct, it does make sense that both of these are related. But solar flares and CMEs, they bombarded Earth's atmosphere and they gave out tremendous amount of energy. ये जो point है, I felt कि okay, this can definitely be a reason for Earth's shift in rotation and axis. That is what I felt, because huge amount of energy बोल रहा है ना, it will definitely affect the body receiving so much energy, right? तो that is how I thought कि नहीं यार ये दोनों correct होंगे करके. Article 6. Now again, this is one of those questions where I felt कि wording and my overthinking, both of them, it was a disadvantage to me. See, Article 6 is frequently discussed. Yes. It was like, extremely important part of the current affairs of 2025. Article 6, climate change sets out principles of carbon markets. Okay, yeah, this is also correct. Carbon markets का पूरा discussion ही इस पे है. ITMOs, then Article 6.4, 6.2, 6.2 emission reductions. ये पूरा ना इसमें ही है. I read it properly, so I knew what are they talking about. And Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on climate change intends to promote inter-country non-market strategies करके जो इन्होंने बोला ना, non-market strategies. This I was confused because See, article 6.2 and 6.4 are different. एंड if नॉन मार्केट बोल रहा है तो आई वॉज लाइक नहीं यार, मार्केट स्ट्रैटेजीज भी डिस्कस कर रहा है ना करके. सो आई वॉज लाइक नो, हाउ कैन दिस स्टेटमेंट बी करेक्ट, बिकॉज इवन मार्केट ट्रेडिंग स्ट्रैटेजीज आर डिस्कस देयर. सो आई फेल्ट कि दिस इज रॉन्ग, बट अपेरेंटली दिस इज करेक्ट एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. सो आई chose option C, but this is not the answer. Or I think this is still an ambiguous point. I don't know. So this is how I approached. Okay. And then 35, nature solutions finance hub for Asia and the Pacific. I did not know this. I did not know, and I didn't want to mark also, so I just left it. Direct air capture. It can be used as a way of carbon sequestration. Okay. It can be a valuable approach for plastic production and in food processing. Okay. In aviation, it can be a source of carbon for combining with hydrogen to create synthetic low carbon fuel. This statement I was not sure. Okay, but these two I was sure कि ये correct है करके. Specifically aviation में it can be a source of carbon for combining with hydrogen. I think in the exam, no, what happened was my mind went towards only commercial aviation. I felt कि यार इसको कैसे airplanes और में use करेंगे, and I went in that trajectory, and I did come at these two options only, but I felt कि यार ये गलत होगा तो ये नहीं हो सकता है, sorry, ये नहीं हो सकता है, ये होगा करके, and I marked this. Apparently the answer is 1, 2 and 3. So if you look at it, see, till now I think three questions or 2 questions I've I've arrived at 50-50, and then I've marked the wrong option. So see, this also happens. Now this, regarding peacock tarantula, Guti tarantula, consider the following. Okay, it is an omnivorous crustacean. This is definitely wrong. Tarantula is a spider. Crustacean is not a spider. मतलब crustacean is basically those lobsters and stuff like that. तो ये तो गलत है. तो I knew कि ये गलत है. Its natural habitat in India is only limited to some forest areas. See, thing is, its natural habitat is limited to some forest areas. Only आ गया तो it makes it an extreme statement. But I felt कि natural habitat के बारे में बात कर रहा है तो obviously it has to be forest areas only ना. Tarantulas and all are famous there only. मतलब they are predominantly found in forest areas only. So yes, I was like, yeah, this is correct. Now this part, okay, this is tough. क्यों? सी, ऑप्शंस आप देखो, 1 तो है नहीं, यू नो दैट, तो ये 2 गए. 2 आपको पता है करेक्ट है, तो ये 2 है, बट आपको स्पेसिफिकली पता होना चाहिए कि 3 है या नहीं है. करेक्ट. Now here I also spent some considerable amount of time in understanding if this has to be correct or wrong. But what I then thought was, normally tarantulas and spiders, right? They are mostly arboreal. Arboreal meaning they are found on trees. Correct. तो I felt के okay, natural habitat बोल रहा है and it has to be found in forest areas. I went with my gut, even though there's no backing evidence for my gut here. But I was like, ठीक है, this also has to be correct, and I chose this. So moving on to the next question now. Yeah, CO2 emissions are less than 0.5 t CO2 per capita. I did not know this. So yeah, I completely did not know this. In terms of CO2 emissions from fuel combustion, India ranks second in Asia Pacific region. I did not know this also. Electricity and heat producers are the largest sources of CO2 emissions in India. I did not know this also. And when I looked at the options, ऐसे नहीं था कि कोई एक गलत ऑप्शन में निकाल दूंगा तो आएगा करके. 1, 3, 2 only, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So I felt कि I can't mark this question right. And this part, okay, less than 0.5 t, I was kind of thinking कि yeah, this is too much, but I do not like. I still chose not to. I chose to play safe basically. So I did not mark this. Then this cassava, ginger, malabar spinach, mint and papaya, what are they करके जो इन्होंने पूछा ना, I did not mark this also, क्योंकि पहले तो मुझे ये पता ही नहीं था. तो I was like, I don't know what this is. Ginger, okay, it is a herb with pseudostem. I don't know herb है या नहीं है, मतलब I know how ginger works, but I did not know what it is, so no. Then 40, coming to 40 here. Rainforests produce more oxygen than produced by oceans. Okay. एक. Marine phytoplankton and photosynthetic bacteria produce about 50% of world's oxygen. I don't know. Well oxygenated surface water contains several folds higher oxygen than in atmospheric air. Honestly, I did not know. But thing is, I knew basics of environment, okay? So I felt, do rainforests produce more oxygen than oceans? I felt yes, correct hai. Okay, oceans are a source of carbon dioxide, right? So that is how I felt कि yeah, this is correct. But ये दो मुझे पता नहीं था. And marine phytoplankton and photosynthetic bacteria produce about 50% of world's oxygen. See, I know phytoplankton are a big source, but I do not know about the other part. So yeah, in the exam what I did was I felt कि यार 1 and 2 है करके, but yeah, I think this is wrong. Then this fuel, full battery vehicles, hydrogen fuel cells, fuel cell electric hybrid vehicles, alternative powertrain vehicles. It's like alternative investment fund type question जो अपने first में देखा था. That is the thought that popped into my mind, but I did not specifically know anything about this. So if I had to blindly choose an option, I would have actually gone with 3. मैंने exam में भी सोचा था कि यार मैं 3 mark कर देता हूँ, okay, but because I was playing safe, I chose not to answer this question, okay. Apparently the answer is all the 3, but yeah, I did not choose to mark it, and yeah, that is that. Now with reference to UAVs, consider the following. All types of UAVs can do vertical landing, all types can do automated hovering, all types can use battery supply as a source of power. एक तो पहले gone are the days where such extreme statements can definitely be wrong. I think last year also there was a question on bacteria or virus, I'm not sure, but such question was actually correct. अब यहाँ पे thing is, I've watched a lot of American foreign movies basically, and I know there is a particular UAV which looks like a plane. It looks like something like this. ऐसे कुछ दिखता है वो, and they use it a lot for surveillance and bombing. So definitely they can't do vertical landing, and they can't do automated hovering, and they can't use battery as a source of only as a source of power supply. So I knew okay, this is option D. Okay, now this usually make up battery cathodes. This is a very specific question in SNT. The problem here is you have to definitely know which is which and which is not, and I knew okay, I don't know all the 4. I knew 2 hai, but I do not know anything about the other 2, so I chose not to mark this. Cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses, car tires, how many of them contain plastic? See, car tires contain, eyeglass lens contain, cigarette butts also contain. I read this, so I was pretty sure, and I chose all the 3. Then which of the following substance? Yeah, ethanol, nitroglycerin, urea. Coal gasification of technology. Coal gasification technology can be used in the production of how many? I did not know this. मैंने ये word भी properly पढ़ा नहीं था, so I did not mark this. Common characteristic of the chemical substances generally known as Cl20, HMX and LLM105. Problem here is I had read a lot about fuels, मतलब rocket fuels and all, मैंने बहुत पढ़ा था, but I never came across Cl20, HMX and this. HMX मेरे को एग्जाम में लगा एक सेकंड के लिए कि RDX के वैसे कुछ है क्या करके, बट दिस इज जस्ट बेसिक, मतलब आई डिड नॉट मोनेटाइज दैट इंफॉर्मेशन. So they are alternatives to HFCs. This was definitely wrong. I know this. They are explosives and military weapons. I did not know. High tech, high energy fuels for cruise missiles. See, fuel, right? So it can be a possibility. Fuel for rocket propulsion can also be a possibility, but the thing here is it is liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen that is mostly used. So that is why I thought that it can be this or this, but I was also thinking कि ये भी हो सकता है, and that was pretty much the reason, because I wasn't sure about anything, I did not mark this as well. And I mean questions like this, something in news that is referring to this, XYZ is related to what. ऐसे questions ना usually you have to know exactly कि ये क्या है करके. Okay, now moving on to the next question, 47. See, consider the following. It is expected that the Majorana 1 chip will enable quantum computing. Okay, Majorana 1 chip has been introduced by AWS, Amazon Web Services. Okay, deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Now see, this one I would say this is directly majorly current affairs. Okay, this is current affairs, and it has both current affairs में specific current affairs in news, and it has something current affairs के topic का static part. Okay, like a conceptual part of the current affairs. So in the exam, I'll tell you what exactly happened with me. I knew कि Majorana 1 chip quantum computing से related है. Okay, and I attended Shivan sir's SNT classes, right? So this was covered there also. ये मुझे पता था कि ये है सही है करके. Now this one, Majorana 1 chip has been introduced by AWS. The moment I read this, I felt like for a split second I felt कि no, अरे यार ये तो Microsoft है ना करके. Okay, and that is where I trusted my instinct कि नहीं, if I think it is Microsoft, it has to be Microsoft only. Hence I marked this one as no. So basically ये चले गया, ये गया, ये भी गया. Option is C. Honestly speaking, I wasn't sure about this. Okay, deep learning is a subset of machine learning, or if it is vice versa. So I wasn't sure about this, but I knew definitely कि ये तो गलत है, and hence I chose this. And yeah, I know that this is correct. Okay, 48. With reference to monoclonal antibodies often mentioned in news, consider the following statements. They are man-made proteins. They stimulate immunological function due to their ability to bind to specific antigens. They are used in treating viral infections like that of Nipah virus. Okay, now I think if you again go back to the SNT classes that Shivan sir took, viruses, vaccination, and antibodies, all of this, basically this was extensively covered in the classes. Problem ये हुआ मेरे साथ. Okay, this is like that was covered in the class pretty well. The problem with me was they are man-made proteins, right? I knew that they are lab proteins, but I wasn't able to connect this. This was like a silly mistake that I did in the exam. Okay, and hence I marked this wrong. I was like, nahi, ye galat hai, and it directly skipped into the options, saying that this is the correct option. The actual answer is D. Now 49. No virus can survive in ocean waters. No virus can infect bacteria. No virus can change the cellular transcriptional activity in host cells. See, the thing here is that you should, see, virus has been a it has been a pattern now. Let us add this into our template questions. 49. Virus पे पूछ रहे हैं. Okay, virus, and I would also say immune system or immunology. Okay, / vaccination, stuff like this. So ये भी I'm adding here because ऐसे pattern बन रहा है. Something specific to virus is definitely being asked in across the years. So I'm adding this here. Now coming to this, see, given that it was already being asked a lot, something like questions related to virus. We were taught this well in the class, so thank you, Shivan sir, again. See, no virus can survive in ocean waters. Extreme statement. Okay, so abhi isko na I will park it, but extreme hai. No virus can infect bacteria. This is absolutely wrong, because virus can affect bacteria. That is like the basic of virus. Virus is more deadly than bacteria, and basically it eats up all these bacteria, plasmodium, all of that. So ये तो definitely गलत है. Okay, and then no virus can change the cellular transcriptional activity in host cells. This is again definitely wrong. Technically this is how a virus, most of the viruses work. So ये भी गलत हो गया. So answer to this was which of the following are correct? None. Okay, see, no virus can survive in ocean waters. The thing here is, पहले तो ocean waters itself is not completely discovered. We don't have the data of every species or every microorganism in ocean waters. I think it is told that it is only 20% discovered. There is still 80% unknown aspects about the ocean. तो एक तो वो भी है, plus no water can survive. This is too extreme. There might be a virus that can survive. We don't know, right? So ये statement ना गलत है. That is how I was sure. And yeah, इतना overthinking की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. So now question number 50. Activated carbon is a good and an attractive tool to remove pollutants from effluent streams and to remediate contaminants from various industries. See, ये statement सही है, okay? मतलब by default this statement is supposed to be correct. Now I have to look at, okay, if this is correct, do these two statements make any sense? I know about activated charcoal, and I know this how? Only because of I know this only because of television advertisements, those face wash ads. So, okay, this makes sense कि it removes pollutants. So, something activated basically is helping us do that. Okay. Activated carbon exhibits a large surface area and a strong potential for absorbing heavy metals. Okay. ऐसे तो this statement doesn't really seem opposite or like it doesn't seem weird, I would say. Activated carbon can be easily synthesized from environmental waste with high carbon content. Problem ये है, मुझे लगा ये तो like this one makes sense, but for this I was completely clueless. Okay, that can it be easily synthesized from environmental waste with high carbon content? So because of this, I had to again skip this question. I did not do this question. Now moving to the next one. With अब आ गया polity. So if you look at this, SNT से यहाँ से पूछा उन लोगों ने, this is SNT. I would say that it's kind of like a merger between environment plus SNT. मतलब it's like पहले plain environment questions, then merger between environment and SNT, then complete SNT. ऐसे आप समझ लो. Okay. So now comes polity. Normally, polity is supposed to be a strong subject. Like everyone who prepares for the exam is usually confident in polity कि कुछ ना कुछ तो हम कर लेंगे. But my particular experience in polity was that this time polity was it was very ambiguous. The wording was, like on the confusing side, and it was in general tough. This is what I felt. How? I'll tell you. See, 51. With reference to Indian polity, consider the following. Ordinance can amend any central act. Okay. Ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. Okay. Ordinance can come into effect from a back date. The thing here is, I did not know anything about this. Like exam mein I was confused. Matlab basics about ordinance I know, but specifically can it come into effect from a back date, I did not know. Can it abridge a fundamental right? Yes or no, I don't know. But can it? I was not sure. I felt like ये गलत है. And then an ordinance can amend any central act. Yeah, why not? Ordinance का मतलब ही वो है कि it is like it's basically a legislation when the parliament is not in session, right? So it can amend a central act. Parliament after coming to session can work on the ordinance. That's a different thing. But this is definitely correct. So because I felt this is wrong and I went with my gut there, I chose 1 and 3. Okay, turns out this is right, but I would say this was a close call. So yeah, that is that. Now this, okay, this is like a static polity question. Okay, static plus it kind of has too much of rote learning component because of the options. Options agar 1, 2, 1, 2 and 3, 2 and 3 hota to I wouldn't focus on this, but given these options, you definitely have to know everything properly. Like you have to know everything to the point. So see, Arunachal Pradesh, the capital is named after a fort and the state has 2 national parks. Second part of this is environment. Okay, so Arunachal Pradesh mein 2 hai, you have to know that. But yeah, this is environment. Nagaland, the state came into existence on the basis of a constitutional amendment act. Okay, makes sense. Tripura, like makes sense as in I'm not sure if this question is like this is right or wrong. Initially a part C state, it became centrally administered territory. All of this, I did not know this. Matlab, I couldn't even guess anything about this. एटलीस्ट मैं यहाँ पे गेस कर लेता, यहाँ पे कर लेता, बट दिस आई वॉज प्रिटी लाइक आई वॉज ब्लैंक. तो given the options, I chose not to answer this question as well. Now this I did a silly mistake. Okay, with reference to consider which the reference to India, consider the following: interstate councils, a national security council, and zonal council. How many of the above were established as per provisions of the Constitution of India? Basically, what they are asking is how many of these are constitutional bodies. Okay, and I marked this wrong in the exam. I think what I did was, yeah, मैंने क्या किया, I'm looking at the options in the exam that I marked. I put this one as correct, I put this one as wrong, and I wasn't sure about this. So basically I arrived at only one or only two, and because I arrived at this, then I went with my gut. I would like, I did a guesswork and I put this, but apparently the answer is this. So ये मेरा गलत हो गया. So this one I think is an easy question. This one medium, but this definitely tough. Now 54. Consider the following statements. The Constitution of India explicitly mentions that in certain spheres the governor of the states acts in his or her own discretion. Okay. The President of India can, of his or own, reserve a bill passed by a state legislature for his own consideration without it being forwarded by the governor of the state concerned. Honestly, I didn't know this. Okay, and this one, Constitution of India explicitly mentions के governor acts in her own discretion. See, discretionary powers of the governor exist, but even like these discretionary powers are only in certain cases. तो I was like, ठीक है, अगर एक भी है तो ये तो correct ही होगा ना. तो I was of the thought कि ये तो सही है, but I did not know anything about this. And yeah, I chose to skip this. Then 55, provision in the Constitution, separation of judiciary from executive. See, यहाँ तक ना everyone knows कि ये कहाँ है करके, but in public services of the state, this is something that I felt कि यार DPSP पूरा अच्छे से पढ़ के जाना था करके, but yeah, this is DPSP only, so this is correct. And then valuing and preserving the rich heritage and of our composite culture, fundamental duties. See, this is the rote learning part. You have to know everything from 38 से लेके 51 and then 51A. So yeah, and then again this one, prohibition of employment of children below the age of 14 years in factories. Yeah, this is again fundamental right only, correct? So this is correct, this is correct, this is correct, all the three. With reference, and see, I am telling you, मैंने ये पूरे ना like I read all of these. मतलब I even knew कि which particular DPSP is this, which is this, and which is this. So I was pretty sure about this. The only confusing part in this question, if any, I would say, was in public services of the state. Okay. So yeah. Now 56. With reference to the Constitution of India, if an area in a state is declared as a scheduled area under the 5th schedule, the state government loses its executive power in such areas and the local body assumes total administration. See, total administration, okay? This is wrong. State government loses, I wouldn't say loses, but yeah, the powers of the state government are diluted. And scheduled areas basically, tribal advisory council, notified area, and then there is one more, the name, I am forgetting the name. But yeah, this is definitely wrong. Oh yeah, autonomous district council. So ये तो गलत है. Like total administration, no. Majority, yes. The union government can take over total administration of such areas under certain circumstances on the recommendations of the governor. I don't think so. Like yeah, exam में also I got that gut feeling कि यार ये भी गलत है करके, under the recommendation of the governor, because I felt that president is the one who notifies these areas, right? So why will governor come here? So that way I went with my gut and I chose this. Turns out this is correct. Now this, see again, this is basically organization and union ministry, right? अभी देखो यहाँ पे we had this pattern. This is again a pattern here. I would suggest that you also note these down because ये नेक्स्ट ईयर आपको काम आएंगे. आपको रहेगा कि यार हाँ मुझे ना ये एंगल से भी पढ़ना है करके. ओके, सो नेशनल ऑटोमोटिव बोर्ड, ओके, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री, कॉयर बोर्ड, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेवी इंडस्ट्रीज, नेशनल सेंटर फॉर ट्रेड इंफॉर्मेशन, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ MSME. I did not know this honestly, like, so I though put a cross like this. Now this 58. List 1, union list in the 7th schedule. Extent of the executive power of the state, conditions of the governor's office. अभी ये क्या है? For a constitutional amendment with respect to which of the above, ratification by legislatures of not less than one half of the states is required before presenting the bill to the President of India for assent. Okay, now see, I'll tell you the thing that I did in the exam. Okay, I'll just tell you what I did. Basically, see, conditions of the governor's office, इसके लिए I knew कि this is wrong. Okay, I definitely knew कि this is wrong, and I directly went to 1 and 2. Okay, in the exam, honestly, even by logic, you know कि this is correct, and even if you don't remember, you know कि union list के लिए, by changing the powers of the union list, basically it has to be any list, okay, it has to be done with half ratification, right? So I was like, yeah, this is also correct, but I knew this one was definitely wrong. Now this, with reference to the Indian polity, consider the following statements. The governor of the state is not answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of his or her office. Okay. No criminal proceedings shall be instituted or continued against the governor during his term of office. Okay. Members of a state legislature are not liable to any proceedings in the court in respect of anything said within the house. See, I knew कि this is correct. Okay, they are not liable. ये मुझे पक्का पता था. No criminal proceedings shall be instituted or continued against the governor during his or her term of office. Yes. Civil proceedings can be, criminal proceedings can't be. There has to be a notice given. Correct. The governor of state is not answerable to any court. I was like, why is he not answerable? He has to be answerable. But he is not answerable to any court. And this honestly is an ambiguous statement, is what I felt. But yeah, so this is that. Exam में, because this was ambiguous, I thought कि नहीं यार ये गलत है, and I chose this. But apparently the answer is 1, 2 and 3. Now 60. Production of crude oil, refining, storage and distribution of petroleum, marketing and sale of petroleum products, production of natural gas. Which of the above are regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board in our country? See, इसका what I felt, I knew कि production of crude oil होगा, refining, storage and distribution of petroleum होगा, marketing and sale of petroleum products I was not sure honestly, but production of natural gas I was like yeah होगा. What I did was I felt कि एक ये ना it's a regulatory board, okay, तो why will it look into the sale of petroleum is what I felt, and marketing के बारे में वो लोग क्यों सोचेंगे is what I felt. But yeah, for a second with sale I was okay, but with marketing I was not. I chose this as a wrong option and I went with only 3. Answer is supposed to be all the 4. Okay, so this is the problem. Even if you know the remaining 3 and if you're confused between the only option, it can really like make or break it. Now this again is economy. Basically economy ना यहीं से start हो गया, if you look at it. So economy start हुआ, this one, okay, fiscal revenue expenditure. See, thing is if they had asked formulas in the exam, I would have answered, because matlab, you know that muscle memory that you have when you see something, that photographic memory, कि ये देखा, you get the intuition. But यहाँ पे they gave an application of the formula. By looking at this, I just, I did not even do this. I thought of doing it, but I did not. Okay, and I mean, I did try to get into the question कि revenue deficit ये है, fiscal deficit ये है, primary ये है. This was confusing, so I did not get into the option, and I think I did a good thing, because I would have made this one as a wrong option. INSTC, this I knew. Okay, India to Europe through Azerbaijan, and this was like a flash कि यार ये है correct answer करके. So I put this one. 63. Of the major ethanol producers in the world, Brazil and United States of America, the former produces more ethanol than the latter. This is my bad. This was discussed. This was there in notes also, but I did not. I did not go through that, and I missed this statement. So yeah, I did not mark this. But apparently this one was an easy one. The World Bank warned that India could become one of the first places where wet bulb temperatures routinely exceed 35. Which of the following reflects the implication of this? See, wet bulb exactly है क्या मुझे पता नहीं था, but I felt like I approached this question with a simple mindset. Okay, कि अगर 35 डिग्री के ऊपर टेम्परेचर जाता है तो best reflect the implication of the above. Okay, peninsular India will most likely suffer from flooding, tropical cyclones and droughts. Okay, temperature बढ़ेगा तो होगा. Survival of animals including humans will be affected as shedding of their body heat through perspiration becomes difficult. Yeah, makes sense. I was like, don't overthink this. This has to be C. 65. A country's fiscal deficit stands at 50,000 crores. It is receiving 10,000 crores through non-debt creating capital receipts. The country's interest liabilities are 1,500 crores. What is the gross primary deficit? I was not able to answer this, so I left it. Okay, but basically if you look at the pattern now, you can mark this ki 61, 65, and there'll be one more question. Okay, they are basically dealing with national income accounting formula. Okay, so that is that. Which of the following statements with regard to the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission of India are correct? It has recommended grants of so and so crores. Okay. I was like, okay, ठीक है. 45% of the net proceeds of the union taxes are to be shared with states. This I knew कि this is definitely wrong. Okay, this is wrong. 45,000 crores are kept to be okay. I don't know about this. So okay. It reintroduced tax effort criteria to reward fiscal performance. Okay. मुझे पता था ये गलत है. I went to the options. ये नहीं है, ये नहीं है, ये नहीं है. I just chose this. Okay, like I just went with what I know, and yeah, turns out this is correct. And then okay, this is I think 47. Now IBRD again here. The moment I read this and then moment I read this statement, okay, third one, I'll get to it. Okay, it provides loans and guarantees to middle income countries. Okay, it works single-handedly to help developing countries reduce poverty. Okay, it was established to help Europe rebuild after World War III. See, it works single-handedly to help developing countries. No, so many other organizations are doing the same thing. Okay, it provides loans and guarantees to middle income countries. Yes, it was established to help Europe rebuild after World War II. The moment I read this statement, I remembered Shivan sir. I was like, thank you Shivan sir, you dealt with the history of IBRD, basically World Bank, and also WTO, and also the third one, IMF. So I was like, thank you sir that you discussed this, because I know this is also correct, and I chose this option. I went there without any rethinking or double thoughts. Now 68. This is where I think I would call this has you know, I would say half of it was my silly mistake, half of it I would blame it on what you call wording of the question. Okay, RTGS settlement time is instantaneous, while in case of NEFT, it takes some time to settle payments. Okay, RTGS is real time gross settlement, NEFT is National Electronics Fund Transfer. ये correct है statement. Okay, settlement in RTGS is immediate. NEFT happens in tranches, मतलब it happens in blocks. तो ये correct है. RTGS customer is charged for inward transactions, while not that is not the case for NEFT. This is wrong. RTGS में भी inward transactions के लिए कोई charges नहीं होता है. Basically, if you receive an RTGS, you are not charged for receiving that RTGS. So this is wrong. Okay. Operating hours for RTGS are restricted on certain days, while this is not true for NEFT. Now this statement, what I did here was operating hours for RTGS are restricted on certain days बोला ना इन्होंने. Okay. Thing is, if you go to the bank and get your RTGS done by a physical check and a physical RTGS form, it is restricted because bank hours में ही होता है. But if you do RTGS online by your bank application, you can do it 24/7. What I did was I applied practical knowledge कि यार ऑपरेटिंग आवर्स तो रिस्ट्रिक्टेड है, वो तो रोज़ ही रिस्ट्रिक्टेड होते हैं, बैंक आवर्स में ही आप RTGS करते हो करके. ओके, एंड देन आई थॉट कि यार ये गलत है, एंड आई वेंट विथ वन. मतलब आई डिडंट इवन थिंक ट्वाइस हियर. ओके, टेक्निकली द आंसर इज सपोज टू बी 1 and 3. Sorry, my bad. I went with 1 and 3. Okay, answer is supposed to be 1 only. So yeah, I still don't know yaar ki does my logic make sense करके. But okay, I think yeah, I even referred to RTGS website, the RBI की website पे I went and I saw that it is 24/7 now. So I was like, okay, मेरा ही गलत होगा. 69. They've given 5 countries. How many countries amongst the above are there other than India where international UPIs are accepted? See, I could have answered this if they had given options, but because they've given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and only 2, 3, 4, 5, I was like, I don't know. Matlab, you have to know every option perfectly, so I didn't know this. Then PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, it targets installation of 1 crore solar rooftop panels in the residential sector. Okay. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, something, impart training. Okay, I know that this is a component. It aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower through fresh skilling and upskilling under scheme component of capacity building. I did not know this, honestly, but I felt कि यार ये it makes sense, like yeah, why not? Okay, and then I went with this. Turns out it is correct, but yeah, gut helped. I mean, not gut, just a basic intuition. Okay, coming to modern history here, or freedom struggle as you can call it. Sedition has become my religion was famous statement given by Gandhiji at the time of. I did not know this. Okay, so I chose not to answer this. मतलब guess भी कर लेता तो I felt कि यहाँ पे भी it makes sense, यहाँ पे भी it make not here, but यहाँ पे also it makes sense. So I did not know what the right option is. The famous female figure is known as dancing girl Mohenjo-daro, made of what? Bronze. See, I don't expect UPSC to ask such basic questions again, but they did. And yeah, this obvious answer. Anyone who's preparing for UPSC and who studied history, not just history for UPSC but in general also, they'll be able to mark this answer. Now, who provided legal defense to the people arrested in the aftermath of Chauri Chaura? Okay, here I immediately remembered one statement of history that I read, that Muhammad Ali Jinnah had actually defended someone, and that he was actually in accordance with many of the leaders in the initial parts of his days. तो आई थॉट अरे यार मेरे को ये इंट्यूशन आया है ना तो ये रहेगा करके, बट आई थिंक अपेरेंटली द आंसर इज CR Das, और इट इज़ दिस वन, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट हाँ, आई मार्क दिस इज रॉन्ग. So yeah, this one went to garbage. Then subsequently, to which of the following events Gandhiji, who consistently opposed untouchability and appealed for its eradication, decided to include upliftment of Harijans in the political social program? Pune Pact, okay, where he met Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and yeah, so I just marked it directly. Now this, okay, thing is, by some, again this one I have to mark it here only. This is 75. Fruit or commodity, and then introduction. Ki who introduced this, I think was repeated last year also. By I don't know like how, but I knew in the exam ke all of these three are correct, okay, and I put this. I mean, yeah, I don't know, like now if you ask me, I don't know where and how I read it, but I was sure कि यार तीनों भी सही हैं, and I marked that. Now this UK, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, Brazil. How many of the countries have more than 4 time zones? See, this, I mean, I like if you look at it now, you can think कि यार आंसर easy है. एग्जाम में ना I मेरा दिमाग तो it didn't work, but I left this the way it is. See, this is mapping again. That is why I'm telling you that mapping itself has become a separate section for prelims at least. Now this Anadir in Serbia and Nome in Alaska are few kilometers from each other. Where the moment I read this, I was like, yeah, I don't know what this is. Okay, when it is Monday in Anadir, it is Tuesday in Nome. I did not know this also. So basically, I left this question also. Who among the following? See, this question, I will kudos to PT 365 documents where they have personalities in news. They have this new PDF, okay. This particular PDF directly had this answer. Okay, Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. And yeah, this is the answer. So PT 365 helped, to be honest. Then 79. Country resource rich in what? Botswana, diamonds, okay. Botswana is where, I mean, you should know that. Chile, lithium, Indonesia, nickel. See, इसको आप कर सकते हो by some logic, but the problem is options. Only 1, 2, all the 3 and none. The options make this question very tough. Okay. And resource rich बोल रहा है. So you have to know कि resource rich है या resources are just available. So this again I left. This again I left. Okay. Region, country. So see, the pattern here again I would say is 79. You have to basically say country or region, resources. So part of human geography. Okay. And 80, which is again just a region where it is. This can be country within India, outside India. Why I'm writing this like this is back in 2016 or 17 also they asked this, where they mentioned different regions of India, and they asked us to match connect it with the states that they are a part of. जैसे विदर्भ उन लोगों ने लिखा, रायलसीमा लिखा, and they are tried to ask us कि which region is it, Maharashtra, AP, so stuff like that. They basically I think mentioned Tirupati and which region does it come into. So see, region and region where it is, and I would also say prominence is important. This is becoming a pattern. I left this, by the way. Some rare earth metals are used in the manufacture of flat television screens and computer monitors. Okay, statement 1 is supposed to be correct only. Some rare earth elements have phosphorescent properties. Okay, this is like both of these are correct, and this one actually explains statement 1. Okay, so I marked that, and yeah, it is correct. So this is again science and tech only. Indian Railways have prepared a national rail plan to create a future ready railway system by 2028. I did not know anything about this. Kavach is an automatic train protection system developed in collaboration with Germany. I heard about Kavach, but I was not sure if it was developed in collaboration or it was indigenous. So I think yeah, Kavach ko padhna tha. I did not, so I left this as well. Axiom Force, SpaceX, and Gaganyaan, again SNT. How many of the space missions given above encourage and support microgravity research? See, I know Axiom, SpaceX, and Gaganyaan kya hai, but do they support microgravity research? I wasn't sure. So I had to leave this also. And then this Dornier 228 maritime patrol aircraft, IL-76 supersonic combat aircraft. So see, again this is a pattern. Last year they asked about generation aircrafts. Now they've delved into aircraft types. So I would basically mark this one as how do I defense maybe. I would mark this as basically our equipment or aircrafts. मतलब पॉसिबली बाय दिस पैटर्न आई कैन टेल कि नेक्स्ट ईयर वो लोग शायद नेवी का भी पूछ लें, या वो लोग ना आर्मी का कुछ पूछ लें कि टैंक्स क्या है और हेलीकॉप्टर्स क्या हैं और एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर्स के नाम क्या हैं, स्टफ लाइक दैट. सो या दिस कैन डेफिनेटली पॉइंट अस इन दैट डायरेक्शन कि ऐसे भी पूछ रहे हैं करके. नाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन I am a big like I would say that I watch a lot of sci-fi movies and movies that have basically combat and stuff like that. So I knew कि IL-76 is not a supersonic combat aircraft. That I knew. And I also knew कि C-17 Globemaster is a military transport aircraft. So these two I knew. And Dornier 228 maritime patrol aircraft, yeah, ये पुराना है. So I was pretty clear on this question and I knew the answers, so I put only 2, and yeah, I was pretty sure in the exam itself that what I'm marking is correct. Now this artificial way of causing rainfall to reduce air pollution makes use of what? See, this I marked A. This is correct. This is, I would say, how do I say this? Basically, I know कि iodides are used. दिस आई वॉज प्रिटी क्लियर. आयोडाइड यूज करते हैं. अब सिल्वर आयोडाइड है, पोटेशियम आयोडाइड है, एंड आई न्यू कि सिल्वर ऑल्सो प्लेज सम रोल हियर. आई वाज लाइक, या दिस हैज टू बी द ऑप्शन, एंड या दैट इज द ऑप्शन. सो 85 is that. Now again this is polity. So this year if you look at the questions also, they are kind of they are not having like 15 questions in one go for a particular area. They are kind of coming back and forth on different areas also. I think this is a good thing because it I don't know, it just helps in the exam. So consider the following statements with regards to the pardoning power of the President of India. Okay, the exercise of this power by the President can be subjected to limited judicial review. Actually, yes, this makes sense. The President can exercise this power without the advice of the central government. Now this one, I really did not like the wording of this. I don't know why UPSC did this. If it had been Council of Ministers, then can he exercise this power without the advice? No, he cannot. I knew this. But अब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लिखा है. आई वॉज नॉट श्योर कि यार ये कैसे इसको मैं लिंक करूँ. ओके, बट देन आई फेल्ट कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट भी क्या है, काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स ही है, राइट? आई मीन आई टुक like 5 to 7 minutes to understand this, or to finally arrive at my point. But I did not mark this because I thought यार गलत हो गया तो I lose marks unnecessarily. But if I had to mark it, I would have put A. Okay. Then yeah, on the dissolution of the House of the People. See, usually statements like this, the lengthier the statement, the easier it is to answer the question, I would say. Okay. On dissolution of the House of the People, the Speaker shall not vacate until immediately before the first meeting. Yes. According to provisions of Constitution of India, a member of the House on being elected shall resign. No. This is a criticism that we have. UK में होता है, इंडिया में नहीं होता है. I read this. I did not even read the third one. I just directly cut all of this and I marked this. If any question arises as to whether a member of the House of the People has become subject to disqualification under the 10th schedule, the President's decision is final. ये गलत है. It is the Speaker. 10th schedule defection के बारे में, it is always the Speaker of whatever house it is. And this has become a political tool now, right? When parties are when members are defecting, and if it's the ruling party where the member is defecting too, speaker does not usually say anything about it. And that is why बहुत बार हुआ है कि कोई MLA ना, they lost the election or they are in the opposing party, then they switch sides and they come to the ruling party, and the speaker does not even raise any issue here. They allow it. There's no time mentioned, right? So they just keep continuing with the way it is, and then session खत्म हो जाता है, उनका term खत्म हो जाता है, but that is still there. So this has become a tool. So yeah, this is definitely wrong. There is no mention of the word political party in the Constitution of India. No, this is wrong. So answer is neither 1 or 2. Okay. Now see, the reason I like this one, there is no mention of political party. How can this be correct, yaar? Because it is mentioned where they talk about defection. Defection mein it is everything about political party only. So that is there, and it is also mentioned in Rajya Sabha elections and nominated members elections ke, where if they before 6 months they can move to any party, right? So yeah, it is mentioned. And then this 89, in India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concessions in respect of extraction of minor minerals, even though such minerals are located in their territories. See, it says state government have no power for minor minerals. This is wrong. I think this is a theme repeated in the same question paper. पहले उन लोगों ने critical minerals के बारे में पूछा था. If you go back to the initial parts of this question paper, now they're asking major and minor. And like I said, I read this properly. Okay, so I knew that this is wrong. And see, in India, central government has the power to notify minor minerals under the relevant law. Thing is, it can notify कौन सा minor and major mineral है. Once it is minor, state government can make rules on it. This I know. So this statement is right. This is definitely wrong. Option is D. Okay. Now this one, nature restoration law. Okay, who has enacted this? I did not know this. Matlab, I haven't even heard about it. I didn't hear about it till the exam, to be very, very honest. So I left this. Now this. Panchayat at the intermediate level exists in all states. No, they don't. To be eligible to be a member of a panchayat at the intermediate level, a person should attain the age of 30. This is definitely wrong. Correct? So, ये तो गया. अब thing here is, the question is not correct. So basically I can't even eliminate here because ये तो है option. So this can be an option, this can be an option, this can be an option. Okay, अभी exam में मैंने I put this as a देखेंगे वाला statement. The chief minister of a state constitutes a commission to review the financial position of panchayats at the intermediate levels. ये जो था ना, I felt के I am not sure यार ये क्या बोल रहा है करके. Okay, so I thought कि this is correct. कि chief minister constitutes a commission to review this panchayat at the intermediate levels, but apparently this is a wrong statement. So I chose this, but I think the answer is this. Okay, so yeah. Now BIMSTEC. Thing is, I knew this. मतलब I had read India के related वाले पूरे groupings very well. Problem is exam में I couldn't like I got confused because of my overthinking. What I did here was subsector जो है ना, tourism being led by India, I thought के ये ना, ये गलत है, सॉरी ये करेक्ट है करके. Tourism is not being led by India, it is being led by Nepal. I thought ये करेक्ट है, एंड देन आई थॉट ये ढाका डिक्लेरेशन जो बोल रहा है ना, ये गलत है, ये तो सार्क का है. दैट आई वॉज प्रिटी श्योर. तो ये भी गया. सो बेसिकली ये वाला ऑप्शन नहीं है. ओके, एंड देन आई थॉट के this is correct, so this was the only option and I just chose this directly, but turns out this is wrong. It is led by Nepal, so technically ये भी गलत होता, and answer then should have been this basically, but yeah, I did not do that. Now, recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize, didn't hear about this, so I did not mark this. And then coming to Gagan, so basically if you look at it, Gaganyaan फिर से पूछ लिया, so same topic से दो question आ गए. It is designed to provide additional accuracy and integrity. See, this is like this is a generic statement, right? तो ठीक है. It will allow more uniform and high quality air traffic management. Okay. It will allow का बोल रहा है ना, तो okay. It will provide benefits only in aviation but not in other modes of transportation. Like why, like what restriction does it have? This doesn't make sense, right? This one. तो ये गया. अब problem है 1 and 2 and 1 only. See, since this is a generic statement, it has possibilities of being correct. So yeah, answer is D. Now, AI Action Summit held in the Grand Palais in Paris, Feb 2025. Thing here is, AI Action Summit जो हुआ, I knew that yes, this is happening करके. Co-chaired with India, the event builds on advances made at the Bletchley Park Summit held in 2023 and the Seoul Summit. This I was not sure about what it is. But this US and UK also signed the declaration. No, they did not. This I knew. So this was more of a 50-50 thing. Okay, turns out option 1 is also correct. And option 2 is the only wrong option there. Now this, 96. International Year of the Woman Farmer, International Year of this, International Year of Peace. So I can see that next year 80, no, this is 90, right? 96. International years can be a question. Okay, or maybe इसके अंदर से वो लोग पूछ लें. But 96 मैंने नहीं किया because I did not read anything about it. Now 97. This is one of the worst questions that UPSC could ask. Why? Because see, I knew 16th was done under the chairman of Russia in Kazan. Okay, there was a Kazan declaration also. Kazan summit. Indonesia has become a full member of BRICS. Thing is, Indonesia recently became a member. Yes, full member, I wasn't sure. But the theme of 16th BRICS summit was strengthening multiculturalism for just global and development security. Thing is, strengthening multiculturalism, the moment I read all of this, I was like, yeah, this is correct. Exam mein, that intuition that you get, yeah, it was correct. The worst part here is, it is not multiculturalism. It's multilateralism. Like, they've made a question that, like, on that level, they've, made that confusing question. So, technically, this is wrong. So, 3 gaya. And 1 and 2 is the correct one. So, if someone knew, okay, this is wrong, but they were not sure about these two, it would still be a tough one. Lokpal. I had not read this. Hence, I did not choose to answer this. If you look at the options here, and if you know this, that yes, one of the criticisms of Lokpal is that it cannot inquire into the allegations of corruption against the sitting Prime Minister of India, then you can probably arrive at this answer. बट हाँ मैंने एग्ज़ाम में ये किया नहीं था. नाउ 99 and 100, both of them are related to sports. I think UPSC is starting this trend since 2024 or 2023, I guess. Not 2023, I guess 2024 only. And यहाँ पे the thing is, since this is like a starting theme ना, मतलब they've started it very very recently. Normally they're supposed to be like easy questions, but यहाँ पे ना the problem is this particular question was a very tough question. Why? बिकॉज उन्होंने ना ये जो स्कोर्स हैं देव इंटरचेंज दिस. ओके, ये मुझे एग्ज़ाम के बाद पता चला, बट या जेन्युइनली दिस वाज अ वेरी टफ क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में. रिमेंबरिंग द स्कोर्स एंड द फैक्ट दैट दीज आर एक्चुअली ऑपोजिट स्कोर्स, दिस इज़ अ वेरी टफ क्वेश्चन. नॉर्मली ना व्हेन दीज क्वेश्चंस कम वी टेंड टू अज्यूम के ठीक है यार ये गलत क्यों ही देंगे करके, बट दिस क्वेश्चन या वेरी वेरी टफ, वन ऑफ द टफेस्ट आई वुड से. Then 100 in the finals of 45th, chess के related था basically, and it is about Gukesh Domaraju. And I think anyone following Instagram reels would have probably tried to answer, or they would have been familiar with this. But Abhimanyu Mishra, American chess player, holds the record of becoming world's youngest ever grandmaster. I don't think people preparing for UPSC would have read this explicitly. So yeah, I don't think this was also answerable in the exam. But if you look at current affairs, the compilations, this particular aspect was I think covered in Mudit Jain sir's current affairs notes. But I also had like eventually I had to skip these current affairs because I shifted to PD 365 only. So that is that. So I guess yeah, we are done with 100 questions, and this is what we like. This is what I did in the exam, and this is how me as an aspirant, covered this. So yeah, let me write this here also. 9900 sports. So these are the different templates that we've seen के irrespective of the subject ना ये areas से specifically questions आ रहे हैं करके. Okay, organization, ministry, and if you see, let me mark it in different ink also. अब ये देखो, ये और ये, this is like a repeated theme, मतलब within the same question paper also. And I would say कि current country, region, resources, ये भी, these are getting pretty common. And now sports I think will become another common theme in UPSC exams, I mean prelims exam. So yeah, this is what I thought of doing, and here we are. So thank you, and I think yeah, we've covered this extensively. And again, coming back to the thoughts after the exam were also the same, कि paper was on the tough side, but at the same time it was also on the lengthier side. So that's that, and that's it from my end. Thank you. And if you were able to watch this whole video in one go, kudos to you. Really amazing. But if you manage to take breaks but still complete the whole video, that also is an amazing feat. So thanks a lot, and see you in the next one. Thank you.